Hello, everyone. Today is my honor to have my guest, Dawn Phoenix. I just couldn't wait to hear more about her journeys, stories, and all the amazingness she has. Dawn Phoenix is an intuitive ignition catalyst, and she's here to help others overcome their blocks and create breakthrough for their business. She has this amazing program called Tapping into Your Business Inner Wisdom. I am the lifestyle mentor. I know we have so much innate wisdom within us. We just need to release it. So I'm looking forward for today's opportunity to talk to Dawn as a clinical therapist and Dolphin Energy Healing and Animal Communicator. I say she's definitely intuitive in different levels. So, Dawn, would you like to say hi to our audience?
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here today. Sunny, I'm so excited about this.
We are going to talk about embracing your design. Is based on the human design chart and also the gene keys profile. Today's the conversation for us to introduce this rising phoenix, Dawn Phoenix, and how she goes through her life journey, shines through and show up as who she is. I'm very curious about your journey to be intuitive. Did you have some childhood experience or some aha moment you finally realize you are very in tune with the information around you?
The first time I can remember, I was a child and I was 11 or 12, and it actually scared me. I was hanging out at home with my mom and I said, "Hey, have you talked to Aunt Linda and Uncle Rao?" They were my godparents. They had two daughters that I had grown up with. That was on a Friday, I think after school. And that's Saturday or Sunday. It was just a day or two later over the weekend. My Aunt Linda called my mom to tell her that there had been a boating accident and that my Uncle Rao had drowned, saving his two daughters and his pregnant cousin. And I felt horrible because I thought, what if I never thought about them? What if I hadn't thought about him and that wouldn't have happened? It's my fault. And I just felt terrible because I grew up really without a good father figure in my life. And he was the only good father figure that I had. So it crushed me. And I didn't understand until later in my life when I had dreams that were premonitions and things like that, that was just my intuition talking to me to help prepare me for things that were going to be coming. I didn't understand that. So as a child, of course, I felt like it was my fault.
Oh, I believe you're not alone. A lot of intuitive, what we call an empath, they are tuning to information. Most of us have no idea, a different vibration, different information. But I think those gifts given to someone really strong. So I just don't know whether that is how you start to maybe connect with animals.
That's telepathy, because telepathy is the language of the heart. It has nothing to do with our minds. Like the word literally means, if you break it down into its two parts, tele and pathy. Tele is a distance and pathy is emotion. So it's feeling over a distance.
When you become clinical hypnotherapist, you deal with a lot of mind, but with your heart intuition. How did you put those two things and become your superpower?
I had a healing practice back in 2014. I opened it in Colorado Springs, and I was doing energy medicine work and animal communication work. And I wanted to be able to reach the people who weren't necessarily open to the energy medicine work. They weren't that far along in their journey yet. So I wanted to reach the people who maybe needed something a little bit more to do with the mind, and less out there, if you will. And so I just started doing research and found the Transpersonal Hypnotherapy Institute, took a whole bunch of their courses, graduated, and they were also out of Colorado. So I got to actually go and work with the directors a few times and received hypnotherapy myself to clear out some trauma after falling in a river and almost dying. And then, so out of a fear of river, I said, I know I have to get rid of this trauma myself. So it was actually beautiful that I was able to, I can now speak to the work and say, for myself, that helped me to not carry trauma that could carry me over into another life the way that we do have sometimes.
Wow. Thank you for sharing your story. I think that really demonstrates you are such a brave soul. We need to face our shadows and trauma in a way and understand that it's just a memory. That is not us. Right now, you're helping other back to tap into their business. That is such an amazing move because really we are the business. We are our own brand, right? So if we don't accept and step into our superpower, our business might move up a little bit, but it's so difficult. We have to struggle, we have to fight, we have to spend all the energies.
Yeah. Well, and we're also our own solution. So I was my first client, which is really funny because I have so many things that I do. And we live in a society that in general tells us, find one thing and get good at it. And for multi-passionate entrepreneurs, that just doesn't work. That's like finding our hands and feet together and say, okay, now run down the road. And I can't, yeah, man, I gotta be free. I gotta be free to be me. So I became part of this wonderful community, this collaborative. And I have, my community, the Phoenix Rising community in there, but we have 18 other communities where we work and play and do life together. And we were just in a virtual space that we have like this office, and we're having a conversation. And one of the other community leaders says to me, Dawn, she's like, the way that you work with animals, the heart to heart connection that you do with the animals, she's like, you could transfer that over and you could do that with anything in your business. She's like, those skill sets that you have, you can use those in a general sense. You don't just have to do it because I teach an animal communication course. She's like, you don't just have to do it with animal communication. And I said, so I went and I played around with some ideas that I had learned when I was taking a healing touch program, and that's energy medicine work. And we actually did a meditation while I was taking that in 2014 or 15, where we measured the chakras, the energy systems of the business that we wanted to build. And we were able to tap into it and its energy centers the same way that we're able to tap into ours. We were able to ground our business. We were able to see energetically the things that it needed to grow and the areas that needed attention. And so I took these two concepts and I married them together, where we can connect in a heart-to-heart connection with our business. And the heart of your business is your product or your service. And so you can connect in with that, because your business is an entity, just like it's an extension of you. But just like I talk about children with their parents, children are an extension of their parents, but they are also their own individuals with their own needs. And so when we can really tap in and see that our business as an extension of ourselves is also its own unique individual, it has its own needs, we can connect in on a heart level to find out what it needs. And then, since I'm part of this community, if there's something that needs work in an area that I don't work in, I have 18 other communities that we have spirituality, finance, business, marketing, branding, life, health, you name it. And so it's like, you're at the mall and it's like, which store do I go to? But they're all working together to help each other. So that's where that's where it came from. And so I decided I was going to be able to use all of my modalities together and funnel them into one offering for the people who are like me, because I needed that help to be able to do that. And so one of my first clients was my guinea pig was my friend and mentor, Regina Curtis, who is another community leader there. And we played around with it and had so much fun. She's like, you need to make a program out of this. And I was like, you bet I will. So this is where it came from.
Because you are such a powerful manifesting generator. For someone who doesn't really know the human design, we have 4 different type of energy type. We have 70%, they are generators. Then we also have projectors, reflectors, and manifestors. The generators are the only kind has sustainable energy source. So in a way, if you put this four type of people together in a room, we are the engine. The projector is the instructor. Okay, so engine, go this, do that. The reflector will be on the side to center way what we did. And manufacturer maybe just takes it, let's go this one first. Then everybody just move the energy to that point. So we do need those all different energy type to work together in today's society. But for you, Don, you are the manifesting generator. The difference between pure generator and manifest generator, you make things happen fast. Like you just like maybe have an idea, you get it the next second. But if I have an idea, maybe I need to wait 2 days. But anyway, because your energy flow support you to manifest and express through your throat, so you can get things done much faster.
When I have a thought, I will, if I'm laying in bed and my brain's going, I have had to learn, okay, I am going to write all these notes down, and then tomorrow I will get to it. And that way my brain can actually go to sleep, because if I don't tire myself out before bed, I'm not sleeping because I'm still generating. So then the next day I'll get up, and sometimes like this program that got created, it happened in a day. I had the page done, everything, the description, all of it. And I'm like, all right, ready to go. I'm like, I'm going to go run to networking events and start talking about it. And there was no waiting. It's like, you're in the express lane. Here we go.
That is amazing. One of my son is manufacturing generator. I can see him just lying down there doing nothing. And then like, tomorrow is the test day. And I said, well, have you studied this? Have you get your notes ready? He say, oh, I get to it. I said, you get to it. Tomorrow is the day. But he maybe just 1 or 2 hours just done. And he's always A+ student. So I was like, this is not fair. I have to study very hard. And he just get it done in such a speed. I have no idea how can he do that. Other than the type you manifest generator, you are the 4-6. For 4-6, if you see there's a house, it's 2-story house, then the 4 is up the second level. You're friendly and you like to serve. People just automatically come to get you. They're not necessarily asking for help or solve their problem. They just want to be with you. The number 6 in your design, that is like unconscious DNA expression. So the line 6 on the house is on the rooftop. So you are very wise. You can see things. You can understand patterns, stuff like that. Then you are a natural born teacher, because your insights and friendliness, so people like to hang out with you and learn something. But you're not like a general type of thing, do this, fix this. No, you just have a conversation. You want to know them better. So that kind of style, people love it because you connect with their heart, not just logic, those kind of hard data. So I think it's lucky you finally decided to come out to have this community and also collaborate with this mastermind group. 3 years ago, I started to learn about human design system. I'm the 1-4. One is the detail oriented, so I like to get into rabbit holes. I'm a molecular biologist, so everything for me is like kind of code, like a DNA code. It's the music code. I'm kind of code oriented, and I say, well, as a Chinese, I don't even know what's hexagram all about. So I have this guilt. I feel like I need to learn my heritage, right? That's how I get into the gene keys, like double purpose, curiosity, and also feel I need to learn more based on my heritage. And so I spent 2 years into the gene keys based on Richard. He had this like 3-day experience totally emerged by light. He got downloaded from some kind of energy. So in that 3 days, he see images. He can ask any question and get it instantly because he's totally connect to the source. Then he spent years to contemplate and write it down and to reflect his experience and collect information. That's how the Gene Keys book was born. The first edition is in 2009. I also become one of the translators to translate this whole Gene Key book into Mandarin Chinese with two other people. So he also see there's a past kind of connected to all the secret codes in our genetics based on the ancient traditions. We don't have a beginning and the end. Life is like a circle, endless circle. But we can only just doing and collect information. Then we can purify our soul. So for me, it's like, oh, I better know how to do it. If I know the messages, I don't really jump in to learn the lesson. I can save energy, right? So the Gene Keys, it's become really a manual for us to tap into our innate wisdom hidden in the DNA. I would like to share more about your profile, particularly the Gene Keys profile based on the Pearl sequence.
Yeah.
Is that
I
okay?
would love it. This would be my first time learning about it. So please, I'm all ears.
The Pearl sequence based on the prosperity. That means we all built in with the abundance. That's one of our birthrights. Freedom is another one. But sometimes we don't feel that way. The possibility is only when we totally accept ourselves. Once we understand the triggers and also face them with our courage, then that's how the prosperity will finally show up. So it's just kind of buried in there. We have to polish out with all the things, take out this, clean that, ditch that, right? So hexagram has 6 lines. Each line has different polarity, right? So you got 64 different possibility, and we call it archetypes. So when we have a certain number in certain sphere or also online with the solar system, then we will create different information. So every shadow has a gift. The gift is the middle frequency. So it's all frequency work because everything's energy, right? Like you totally understand that with your heart. If you think about everything's the energy, then we should be able to shift, different polarity. So in Gene Keys language, we don't need to wait. It's just different layer of the vibration. If you can see the shadow, that means you sense you have some kind of trigger, right? Then when you go through the shadow, work with the shadow, accept something, then we get able to shift the light. There's 4 spheres in that sequence. The first one is called Vocation. So vocation is kind of like declare what you're going to do and who you're going to serve. For you, 34 and the low frequency is the force. But I have to say, manufacturing generator, most of they have the 34. They're just such a forceful being. So your vocation is you're the management because you're on line 5. 5 people talk about the house, right? The 5 is the same level as the 4, but 5 people is the fixer or leader. So people will say, oh, Dawn, I have this problem. Give me the solution. So on your business, you are 5. Your personal life is 4, 6, but your business vocation, you are the management. You are number 5. So you're there to really give the solutions and help and serve your community with your teaching style. And the second sphere in this Pearl sequence is called cultural. Cultural is the business structure. What is the best for entrepreneur to do? There's again 6 different options and archetypes. So the number 1 is individual, partnership, units, network, society, and system. And you are the individual. The sphere, cultural sphere, is number 8. You want to start a business, but because we need to start from somewhere, right? So you are just say, oh, maybe I just do this. So your low vibe is the mediocrity. You just kind of stay, sane by serving others and connect with the masterminds. You start to shift to the exquisiteness. You're so like different style, right? And then people can see you because you're also number 6. People can see you on a rooftop, right? It's just like oh, Dawn has this different style, and it just let people feel so attracting to it, right? So other than just like stay blending with everybody else, you don't need to blend it. You can choose your own style, right? Then, of course, go back to the beginning. The activation sequence start with the life work, but the pearl sequence also end with life work. But that time we don't call it life work because you already worked through it. You already clean yourself. You already align and understand who you are, and you serve others. You grow your business. So in that moment, this same spear will become your personal brand. Which means when people talk about Dawn Phoenix, we already know Dawn Phoenix is you feel the blank because you are just associated with your personal branding. That's how you talk about, business inner wisdom. It's the personal branding process, right? You can finally unleash their acceptance about their genius. So for you, your number 55, that 55 is so significant in the human design system based on the theories about what we're here for is we need to break through the limits or the false beliefs about humanity. Because we think about human as like weak. We cannot compete with other animal. They're faster, they're stronger, they grow faster, they have a baby faster. So anything, and we'll always have somebody better than us, right? That is the purpose for us knowing we're not even living our full potential yet. Have a chance to shift from the victimization to freedom. And number 55 is really to demonstrate that. So in your business growth, support others, and all your academic developments, maybe the beginning, you always think you're not enough. But you finally can go to the freedom. And, that's your last name, right? Phoenix. In the ancient legendary, Phoenix is the firebird. They bring fire, but they also burn themselves. When they burn themselves, they into the ashes, they still have some heat in there. And the phoenix actually become stronger. They kind of destroy themselves. But then the little spark, they just rising up from the ashes. So that is really your personal brand, Dawn. You're Dawn Phoenix. You understand yourself more, right? Then you facing all the shadows and you using yourself as your first client to prove that is really the path. Then you live through it. You can connect with your heart, understand that's the right path. Then you share your wisdom out, right? So your business you manage, then you also maybe one-on-one would be your potential client, but you work with masterminds. So you have community support you, but you have the full attention to anybody you serve because that is who you are. One core, the sphere we didn't talk about is your pearl. Pearl, based on my understanding, is our third eye area, it's our pineal glands, it's our personality. We all come with the core very, very deep into our consciousness. But until we finally all align and do our things to do and let go and clean up, the pearl will show up automatically. We don't need to do anything about it. It just becomes shinier and more beautiful because we're using the ashes to polish out the pearl. The oyster has the irritated sand or rock, right? They cannot push it out. The only way they can do it is live with it and become part of their being, right? So that's the pearl. Then your number's 23. Your 23, I have that one too. It's very, in the beginning, I don't like it at all. Gosh, I have to give up everything. Like this, I don't know, but I have to let it go. So the 23 for you, your pearl is in your life. You turn the complexity becomes simplicity. You need to let go all the things not you. Then you can finally rise up as a phoenix. After you shift from complexity through simplified process, you become quintessence. So quintessence, that means it's the pure essence. Right? There's nothing you need to put anything in there. So that is your whole pearl sequence.
That is so amazing. Thank you so much. All these things that were just coming forward. I had a point in my life where I had to let go literally of almost everything: relationship, physical belongings, a roof over my head. And
Yeah.
I grieved. It was a grieving process. And I was like, that's my life. But then I'm like, how could it be? Because I'm still here. So that was a process that I went through over a period of years to unravel who I thought I was. And then it's a process. It's why I chose the last name Phoenix. I did it during that ending of that relationship, that marriage. When the divorce came and they said, okay, here's the paperwork. What do you want your last name to be? And well, but just write it on the paper. And I said, and I did some soul searching and I said, Phoenix, because that's who I am. I have crashed into the ashes so many times and I still keep coming out. They're with me. That's what it is. I have to be, I am of the Phoenix. So I have to honor them.
Wow.
Yep.
So your sacred animal is on side and say, Phoenix, Phoenix, Phoenix. Wow. We all have a choice. Like I have so many times like that, I choose to be angry most of the time, but now I know, hey, I don't need to be angry. But when I choose the negative, I also find that's the lesson, how we can learn lesson faster because we made the wrong choice.
Yeah, they're learning experiences. I have words that I have struck from my vocabulary: always, never, and mistakes. I don't believe in always. I don't believe in forever with promises because life happens. And I don't believe in mistakes. I believe that everything is a learning experience because all the things that I saw as mistakes in my life, whether I made them or people made them around me, something was learned. If it wasn't learned by the person who made the mistake, there was a lesson learned somewhere. And so whenever there's something that happens and I'm sitting there thinking, going to the mistake place, I'm like, nope, it's a learning experience. So that's how I approach, my life, myself, my relationships, and my clients. Is everything is a learning experience. It's up to you to
Yes.
determine what that experience is.
Beautiful. Well, I'm just so excited to see you're definitely is on the right path and the right structure and everything ready to shine. How people can find you and maybe join your communities? Any way you can share that
Oh,
information?
yeah, sure. So it's right on my website, dawnphoenix.org. It's right there on the homepage. And there's a 2-week free trial. So you don't have to pay a thing. You come in, you play with us, you play with all of the communities, not just me, and do the workshop I have by tapping into your business's inner wisdom. And you have that community around you. And I'm talking like in real life, like we're talking here today. That's what we have in our community. We have a platform that we can, put events on and things like that. Like we have an event calendar and things like that. But we also have our virtual offices where we're there in real time as though we were in an office building together. And it's worldwide and it's 24 hours a day. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you want to come play, you can come play and be around the people who are like you and not have to do anything alone if you don't want to. And that's what saved my bacon is that I have this beautifully supportive, amazing community of like-minded entrepreneurs around me where I feel that I'm of service. And sometimes I'm getting help even though I'm not even realizing it or I didn't even think I needed it. And it's like, boop. And these interactions are just so organic and amazing. It never ceases to amaze me. I love it.
You mentioned so many times about playfulness. I think maybe that's how you're fascinated about dolphin, right? Dolphins are always playful. It's really healing too. Like, when we little kids, and actually all the babies, not only human, right? They are learning by playing. If we are not really playing, that learning is not that fun anymore, right? The learning becomes obligation. But look at all the puppies and kids. They play just playing. That's the purpose. They don't really look for it. After I play, can I get my treats? Well, surface dog do, because I used to own a surface dog. They're really conditioned that I say, all right, where's my treat? For the really the pure innocent animal or even the human being, when we are really not conditioned, we come back to that playfulness. We just live in the moments and play. I think that is so good to have a community like you and others build the place, a space based on your human design profile is the right angle cross of the sleeping phoenix. And that is the coming consciousness. So that means we actually, everybody will experience about that shift, right? We used to be sleeping. We used not that powerful. We think about human is just the weakest creature on earth, right? Then, but hey, when the sleeping phoenix wake up, that would be a different world, right? Yeah. So I really appreciate you being here, share your wisdom, and definitely wish you the best to grow your business and become who you're supposed to be. You are Majesty. You are the quintessence. You are free, and you definitely has a lot of exquisiteness. So I certainly appreciate you, Don.
Thank you, Sunny. I appreciate you, and I truly appreciate you giving me an opportunity to learn more about myself, because the depth that we can learn about ourselves and show up for ourselves is the way that we can show up for others. And it's not about, being an ego or being selfish. It's about that exploration of this life and the character we're playing in it. And when we can do that for ourselves, then we can show up and help other people do that.
1000% agree. Yeah. So thank you so much, Don. And I will see you around.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.